Well, I think there's two things. One is the argument that there's now a lot more people who go to university, and the argument is should taxpayers, and that's all taxpayers, some of whom don't have the benefit of going on to further education to university, should they all pay, or should the people who actually benefit from a further education pay once they've had that education and they're earning over a set amount later on in life? Now, I have to say that times are hard at this point in time. The economy where it is, what the Labour government did, not saving, spending, borrowing lots of money, means that there's less in the pot. So it means that we all have to tighten our belts, and there are a lot of people who want, I think it's very good that people go to university if it's the right way forward for them. So very happy that people do, but I think that yes, it's got to be afforded somehow. And the arguments are, where does that money come from? In some respects, yes, it is, but yes, there is the argument that people who go to university obviously then help the economy, because the fact is, they will produce, if you like, more during their lifetime. But then they'll also receive more, and that's one of the things that the way up, if you like, is there, and that's the levels that have been set. Is that people who have been to university, graduate in whatever degree of, and it's been proven, are very likely to earn more during their lifetime than other people who haven't done. That's not to say that that's right across the board, because there's many very successful entrepreneurs, business people who've set up their own businesses, done various different roles, who earned in their lifetime probably lots more than people who've been graduates. As I've said, being a graduate isn't right for everybody, and I think we should be aware of that. And that's one of the things that I'm very pleased about, is that the Conservative Party, and now as a coalition government, are providing a lot more apprentice places. And I think apprenticeships are very useful for lots of people in the country to obviously go on and work in business and have a successful business career.
Do you think that
what they're providing is what students want? So if students are actually becoming more of a customer, in the fact that it's they who are borrowing the money in their name, they're going to have to pay it back. They therefore have the right to expect the tuition levels that they want, and it's no use, as has happened in the past. And I'm certainly not labelling Lincoln University this, but across the board there are various universities who have promised in their prospectuses that you'll see XY lecturer who's world renowned in their field, and you're very lucky if you're in a lecture once a year with 300 other students, never mind getting a tutorial with that lecturer on a regular basis and seeking their expertise and learning from them in whatever your chosen subject is. So I think students will have, and I sincerely believe that students will have a lot more power to ensure that they're paying for their education. They therefore will be able to ensure that the level of that education is at the level that they want and should expect. I think I've seen obviously the NUS president who actually came up to Lincoln during the election campaign. I've seen him on the television, and I've got to say to him, come up with some credible alternatives. Tell me what your alternatives are. I don't think he's got any. You have to accept that what the Labour government was not good for this country. There isn't a lot of money in the pot. If he's got some credible alternatives, then I think we can listen to him. But being a shouty NUS president on the national media as he was yesterday, I don't think does him or students any good, or gives them any credibility out in the wider world. As I've said, lots of people across all walks of life are having to rein in their spending and tighten their belts and look at the way that they live their lives. And I think unfortunately students are also part of society, and they have to take the hit that we're all taking because of the financial decisions that the past Labour government, both Gordon Brown and Alistair Darling took.
when students in Lincoln
I think Lincoln University has an awful lot going for it. Being a decade old, it's done a tremendous amount. It's done a tremendous amount for the city. And the city, as you rightly say, are very proud of its university and their students. So I would sincerely hope, and I truly believe, that Lincoln will carry on being a very popular university, and that the students that come here will enjoy their time here in Lincoln. I'd hope that quite a lot of them want to stay during their early working careers and onwards through the rest of their life, as perhaps they get married, have families or whatever. So I'd hope that would continue to take place.
How can students...
Yes, you're going to have to take the decision if you're going to go to university. You're going to have to lend and borrow money, and at some point you're going to have to pay that back. But there's the student experience is forefront, I think, in most students' minds. And obviously, if they're concentrating on their studies or enjoying the life of being a student, I think they know that once the limit that's been put in place, I think it's £21,000 as a yearly salary. Well, it could be that that's a few years into their working life once they've left university and graduated. So I'd hope that yes, it's going to be there in the background, but actually they realise that when by the age of maybe 25 or 30, they've still got 35, 40 years possibly of a working life ahead of them, and the monies that they've borrowed to be a student and to get their degree can be paid back over that set time. So they come to Lincoln, they make the decision because of what's on offer at Lincoln University. I think Lincoln University, both on a studying side, if you like, the level of tuition, the type of tuition, the type of courses that are offered, obviously attract students. But I also think what the Students' Union and if you like, the student experience that's offered here in Lincoln, it is a lovely city. Obviously, I'm very honoured to represent it. But I think the city's got a lot to offer students and other people who live here. And I think that's one of the things that attracts a lot of people to Lincoln. So I think the whole, if you like, student experience that's on offer, both the level of tuition and the type of courses, and also what's available out in the city for students outside of their extracurricular activities, if you like, I think they're very attractive to students, and I hope that continues. You know, there's various funding options for students. There's various bursaries available at every university. And so I'd say to all students who are thinking of going to university and those already at university, make it your business to know what's on offer and what you can apply for and what is available.